Well, hello, 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 and welcome to Self Care Saturday. We are here from the THO, the Healing Oasis, which is my business, my baby. I am Allison Watley. I am a mental health practitioner, and I am all about wellness, particularly in this season where we are dealing with so much. We are dealing with a pandemic that doesn't seem to want to leave us. We are dealing with our own personal issues. We are hearing about celebrities who are just going away, dying from by suicide, celebrities that are battling divorce, battling depression, battling anxiety. And so it is my desire to be available, to be presentable, to be in a space where you can get a little more information about your mental and your wellness, not just your mental health, but your entire wellness. As we always say, self care is not selfish. So, listen, I want you to hit that share button if you can, because today we have a phenomenal guest. All our guests have been great, and we are so grateful for every person, every female, every male that came along in this platform to share with us. Now, I am also using StreamYard, and in order for us to see your comments, at least your name with your comments, we would like for you to give StreamYard that access. So if you're in the group at the moment, just hit that button and let's say StreamYard, you have access to give my name out, right? We are also on our YouTube channel, which is my personal YouTube channel. Find it, please subscribe and share over there. Today, we have a phenomenal guest. She is a friend of mine. The good thing about having great relationships and great friends in high places is that you can ask a favor and they are willing to oblige. So today, I have a phenomenal guest with me. I've had most of the people, all of the people who came on this platform has been a part of my life or newly joined my life, but still has contributed so much to my life. This lady that I would introduce to you, she's a dear friend of mine. She's a sister in the Lord. We are prayer partners, and we've been prayer partners on our ministry prayer line for quite some time. I have seen, I'm privileged to be a part of, see her wedding, to work with her in her wedding, and I've just seen her do great things even in ministry and in her personal business. So today we have a lawyer, a legal mind with us. These are times that we want to plan for our future, whether you're single, whether you're married, with divorce, wherever station in your life, and you ought to plan for your future. You might want to ask me, what does that have to do with wellness? Well, as you know, in this platform, we consider wellness holistic from top to bottom, right? So we take care of our hair, our skin, our nails. It makes no sense to be taking care of all those things and we don't have a plan for the future, and we don't know how to manage the things, our assets, our liability. We don't know none of that. So it is our goal here within this THO Wellness that we are able to share whatever wisdom we have in order for you to be able to be a better person. So, without any further ado, help me to welcome and introduce none other than Miss Sophia. Now, she's married now. You might see a different name here, but Miss Sophia Faulkner, come on in the room, my dear.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you so much for joining. And at the end, we want to be able to tell people how we can reach you, how we can get your services. I know, I happen to know that your services are excellent. Quite a few of our friends, our brothers and sisters in the church have, participated or patronized, if you will, and you do great work. So tell us a
Thank
little
you.
bit about you, Sophie.
Well, I'm an attorney. I have a law practice in Mount Vernon, New York.
Yes.
I do matrimonial work, child support, custody, landlord tenant, real estate, wills, powers of attorney. So I have a pretty wide range in practice. I do not handle criminal matters or bankruptcies or anything like that. I've been practicing for 26 years, pretty much in the same region in the Mount Vernon area. And I handle all over the tri-state. I travel. I sometimes go upstate. I go to Long Island. I'm in Manhattan, all over. So I'm able to handle pretty much, all your needs.
Great, great, great. So, you are in Mount Vernon. Your office is in Mount Vernon, right? But you travel several places, right? How was the pandemic for you? How has the pandemic affected you personally, or how has the pandemic affected you business wise?
Business wise, it was very, very difficult, and personally too, because
Yeah.
just having friends and family that are sick. But yeah, for business wise, the courts were closed and they're just beginning to reopen now. Some are still not doing in-person appearances. So we were doing things like the same way we're doing, with you over the internet. It
Mhm.
was just more, everything was pretty much at a standstill. Nothing really got done. As far as the clients, people weren't coming in. So business was, kind of slow for a number of months, and it's just now picking up. The real estate market is doing well right now. So
Good.
it really financially affected, my office. And of course, personally, I actually got COVID back in December.
Right.
Between Christmas and New Year, I wasn't able to celebrate Christmas with my family.
Oh my goodness. And I know
Yeah.
you love Christmas and you love
Yes,
family
I
and you
do.
love family.
I
So,
do.
so in losing or kind of downgrading in your business, how did you take care of you? And even having come out of COVID, this is all about wellness and self-care. What are some things that you did personally that helped you to cope?
Well, one of the things being, a sister in Christ and being your prior partner also for a number of years. And, we prayed continuously all through the pandemic on Thursdays. And so I found it was a good time to get back to God, because we
Yes,
get so busy with our lives and,
that's
we
right.
start, we concentrate on so many other things. I found it was a time to come back to the Lord,
Yes.
reading the Bible, spending more time with your family, and of course, continuing to pray. So that's kind of
Yes.
how I spent my time in the pandemic.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It was really a time where we kind of even with family kind of got a little closer. You kind of prioritize things. At least for me, I kind of, you was in that space where you wanted to make sure that everything was lined up, you know,
Yeah,
in just in case of you wanted to make sure that you had your ducks in a row, so to speak. And so today it really is, the things that we never thought about, we had to think about the things that we didn't think about even as a younger person, but wills, or health proxies and all those things. We did not think about that. At least I didn't think about it as much as I started to think about it during this pandemic, even the more so. Having an elderly mom, having, I don't have children of my own, but watching my nieces and my nephews and saying, we as a people, we need to figure out this thing because this pandemic hit us so suddenly. I don't think a lot of people, even those unfortunately who may have died, had any succession, right? Didn't have
exactly,
anything in
exactly.
place.
Yeah,
Even, believers, churches, pastors, that there were some leaders, spiritual leaders that died, and their churches weren't even left with any plans,
that's true.
they weren't left
Yeah.
with any plans. So this is why I felt like it was a very important conversation for us to have today about wills and whatever else the people may have as far as questions. And so I am going to step out of the way because I know you do have a great presentation, and I would be in the back helping you out on that. Okay, is that all right,
Okay.
Miss? All right,
Yes.
let's go.
So good evening again, everyone. So today I'm doing a presentation about wills, and as my sister said, it's so important to have these things done because you don't know when things are going to happen in your life. So it's good to have these documents set and ready. So the first thing, when you come into my office to meet with me in order to prepare a will, the first thing I'm going to ask you about is your family history. I want to know, are your parents still alive? Are you married? Um, do you have siblings? Do you have children? One of the things I want you to take into consideration if you're married is that your spouse gets the first $50,000 of your estate plus a half. So if you're in a situation where maybe you're separated from your spouse and you're just not even thinking about them, well, in case you die and you do your will and you did not include them in your will, they can go to court and object to that will and still get funds from your estate. So if you're separated and you're thinking about getting a divorce and that's the direction you're going to go, you should, have these things in mind. So that's the family history I go through with you, and I spend a considerable amount of time making sure I know who is still, in your life and who you want to receive your valuables. So the next thing is that one of the things I have to consider is that are you able to make a will? And I know that may seem, obvious, but it becomes a problem when you have people that are in the hospital. Sometimes family members call me and they say, "Oh, my mom or my sister is in the hospital. I need you to come to the hospital and do their will for them." But I have to be, as the attorney, in order for me to make your will, I have to be able to know that you are alert, that you can speak to me. Do you know who the President of the United States is? Are you in your right mind? Because what happens is that if you are not, when you make the will, say you are sedated or you have some type of illness that's preventing you from thinking properly, again, and a family member can later come forth to court and say, "You know what, I'm objecting to this will because my mom didn't know what she was doing. She wasn't at her right mind. She was taking medication and she didn't know what she was doing when she signed this will. So I'm objecting to that will." So that's some of the things that an attorney has to take into consideration. Not everyone is capable of doing a will. Um, so you have to be careful as an attorney to make that determination. Okay. So the next thing we want to look at is you have to choose who is going to be the head of your estate. It's called the executor in the case of a man or executrix in the case of a woman. So you really should have two names. And the reason you should have two names is that that person could die before you. So you need to, or that person may not want that position. So you need to have somebody who is, an alternate person. And this is something, if you're married, husband and wife need to discuss these things because, I may not like my husband's uncle or aunt or something. I'm like, no, there's no way I'm going to let them be the head of our estate. So these are things you need to discuss, with your significant other before you come, to meet with the attorney. Who do I want to be the head of my estate? And have their names and addresses, ready. It's so sad when people come into my office and some people don't have anyone. They can't think of anyone that they trust that much that they want to be the head of their estate. And the same person that's going to be your executor or your executrix also will be the guardian for your children. So, in other words, if you're leaving money to your children and say you don't want the children to have the money until they're 25 years old, you want to make sure, this person is going to be in charge of, putting those funds aside and making sure it's, appropriated properly to the right person. Obviously, these are individuals that you have to trust that may have some business savvy or will hire an attorney, to be able to help them. So this is a very important decision. And one of the next things that we want to look at is, and everyone should, do you have a burial fund? In case you die, how is this funeral going to be paid for? So, as my sister was saying, during the pandemic, so many people, weren't expecting, for family members to die, for the pastor to die. And then, you have the situation where people are doing GoFundMe. You hear that the family is trying to put monies together for this burial. And really, that should not happen. As people of God, we have to prepare. God does not want us to, have these things happen to us and we're not prepared and we're depending on others, to help out the family. So, get yourself a life insurance policy. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. They have something called a term life policy where you pay $40, $50 a month for it. If you're a little bit older, you can even get insurance that's basically maybe $25,000. That's enough to cover, to get a reasonable burial done. Or you can get a whole life policy, which basically is an investment on your part. You pay every month and the policy increases. You can even borrow money. But whatever type of policy, some of these policies don't even require that you have any type of medical um, uh, anything done for them to check to see what your blood sugar is, or if you have high blood pressure, whatever the situation, any type of medical test, any type of blood test. So, there are insurance policies out there. I know many of us will say, oh, I can't afford it, or we keep putting it off. A lot of these things we keep putting it off, and we said, oh, we can do this another time. I have time. Guess what? None of us know. You can go outside and get hit by a bus, tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen. So these are things that we need to do to make sure that we are secure. And you know what? You don't want to leave a burden on your family members, on your children. I mean, it's hard enough that they're grieving from having lost you. Now they have to worry about how they're going to pay for um, a funeral, because they weren't planning anything like this to happen, especially if you're leaving young children. They obviously don't have the funds because funerals are expensive. You're talking about a decent funeral, $25,000. So, it's a lot of money. So I really do, tell everyone, all my clients, that they really should, do these things. If you have bank accounts, you need to check and see if you have any beneficiaries listed on there. You really should have somebody on your account, especially as you get older, because what happens is that, say for instance, you die, your bank account is automatically frozen. No one can use it. So even if you have money in there that could potentially be used for the burial, no one can touch that money because you have died and you were the only person listed on that account. And the bank would not allow anyone to gain access to it unless you have a beneficiary listed on the account. So again, this is another trust factor. You have to have someone in your life that you can trust enough to list them as a beneficiary. So then all that they would do is just get the death certificate, bring it to the bank, and then they'll have access to it. If you have retirement accounts at your jobs, make sure you check. Some people, they have no clue what type of benefits their job gives them. You need to check that. Check with your job. What type of benefits do I have? Do I have a pension? Do I have an IRA? Do you give me life insurance? Some of you don't need to get life insurance because your job may provide life insurance, although it may not be enough life insurance. It may be a small amount, so then you can go out and get another policy to add to that existing. But check with your employer to see what it is that you're entitled to. Make sure that you have the right individuals on your retirement accounts. Some of you have been at the same job for many years, and you may have had an ex-wife or ex-husband listed on your account and you didn't even remember that, and then you die and they end up with the money. So you want to make sure, you may be on to your second or third, spouse. So you want to make sure that the correct person is listed on there. Or if you want the money to go to your children, make sure your children is listed on that, on those accounts. So it's very important to make sure everything is up to date. The next thing I'm going to ask you is that, do you own a home? And if you do own a home, whose names are on that home? Do you have a mortgage on the home? Now, with respect to the home, I would suggest that you get an insurance also to pay off that mortgage. Check on various policy. You can even check with the mortgage company that you have the mortgage with, to see if they give insurances that will pay off that mortgage in case you die. Because in case you die and you leave in this home with, $300,000-$400,000 owed on the mortgage, that's a burden to your family members. So that really means you're not really leaving them anything, because they end up having to pay this mortgage or end up having to sell the home. Maybe this is the only place that they have to live. So it's good if you have insurance that can pay off that mortgage. There's also something called reverse mortgages for people that are 62 years old and older. And so for the older person that has a mortgage on there, if you get a reverse mortgage, the company pays off your existing mortgage and they may also give you living expenses, and the only thing you have to pay are the taxes on the property. The problem with this reverse mortgage is that when you die, there really is nothing left for your family members. That the bank that gave the reverse mortgage usually takes the house. You could, as a relative of the person who died, go out and get your own mortgage and pay off that reverse mortgage. But most of the times, the bank ends up taking that mortgage. So you have to be careful. If this is what you want, if you're an elderly person, you can't afford to pay your mortgage anymore, and you just want to live in the home for the rest of your life and enjoy that home, then do the reverse mortgage. And then when you die, the bank takes the home. But if it's a situation where you want to leave something to your family member, just take that into account. And so, you want to discuss this with your children, and whoever your family members are, to let them know, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing a reverse mortgage, so that they're not shocked, when you die, and then they learn that, oh, the house doesn't really, belong to the family. But you know what? I always say, as individuals, enjoy your home, make sure you are taken care of. Sometimes you can't so much worry about the next family members, because some people are just there to take stuff from you anyway, and they're waiting for you to die. And so if you want to enjoy your home and do a reverse mortgage, go right ahead. But I just want you to be well informed of what it is you're doing. And the next issue is, if you are in fact married and you own real estate as husband and wife, that home, if the home is in both your names, that home, if one spouse dies, the other spouse automatically gets the home. And there's really nothing you can do about that. If this is a home that you guys purchased together and it's listed in both your names, and here in New York, even if the home is not listed in both your names and it was purchased during the marriage, and even if one spouse's name is not on it, the law presumes that that spouse also owns that home. So your name does not have to be on the home in order to inherit that home. And if you cannot do a will, so if both then the names are on there, and you want to say disinherit your spouse, you cannot do that with a will. The will be considered null and void. Okay. And one of the next things is the actual will signing procedure. So I do your will, I review it, with you, and then we schedule another appointment for you to come in and actually sign the will. It's a procedure that must be followed in order to sign the will, in order for the will to be effective. Because remember, after you die, this will is going to be presented to a court called the surrogate court in the area where you live, and the surrogate court has to accept this document as your last will and testament, and give whoever it is that you appointed as your executor to be that person in charge. So basically, when you come in, I have you review for final time your will. I have to make a determination that you are again in your right mind, and this is exactly what you want to do. I need two witnesses, usually myself and one other. Sometimes there are even three of us. And so when you read the will, I ask you if you're asking the witnesses to witness your signature. I ask you to initial each page of the will, and I ask you if this is your last will and testament. That doesn't mean you can't later on make changes to your will. You can. You can do something called a codicil, and then that will be an amendment to the will. Or if you had significant life changes, sometimes we sell homes or something major, we get divorced, we have a new spouse, things happen in your life, and you want to make a new will. And then when you have to come in, do a new will, and do away with that last will, because the last thing you want to do is, if you die and you have two wills, that could definitely be a problem. You want to make sure that the right one is the one that you want is the one that goes before the court. The next subject we're going to talk about is something called powers of attorney. this, I cannot even express to you how important this particular document is. So basically, what happens is that you sign this. I'm going. Well, towards the end, I'm going to show you exactly what the document looks like. So this document gives the person that you're giving your power of attorney to the authority to do everything that you can do. Okay, so with this document, you sign and give the powers on there. They have the powers listed on there, and you give the person what power: power to sell your home, the power to use my bank account, the power to take care, do things for my children. Anything that I could have done, this person with the power of attorney can do. And this document is only good while I'm alive. You know, once I'm dead, the document dies with me, and then we go to the will. Okay, you, with this document, you can bring it over to your bank. Let your bank know this is my power of attorney. So, say I'm elderly and I can no longer go and do my banking. He or she can go and do the things. Go to the bank for me, get pay my bill. It's very important to have. I know a lot of people are very skittish and scared to do this document because they don't trust anyone. But I say that you have to have somebody in your life that you can trust. You can't always be so scared and fearful that everyone is out to rob you, because everyone needs help. And with this pandemic, that we just went through, it's important because there are people that were in the hospital for months on end that were sick and they couldn't help themselves. They were lying in bed. Their mortgage still had to be paid. Their rent still had to be paid. Believe you me, the bill collector doesn't care that you're in the ICU. They're still sending you bills. So your family members or whoever it is that is your power of attorney could do all those things for you. And guess what happens? If you don't have this document, this power of attorney, your family member will have to go to court and have you declared incompetent, that you're unable to handle any of your affairs. Spend between $5,000 to $10,000 to get appointed as your guardian in order to do this very thing that you could have done by signing this power of attorney ahead of time, which is why I said these are documents you really need to have. Just sign them, put them aside, tell your loved ones where to find them in case that they need them, because this is one document you cannot go back and say, I should have, I could have. I've had people come to me I've been in practice for 26 years. I've had people come to me and say, oh, I wish I had done, a power of attorney for my auntie or my dad or stuff. So again, very important. Just put it aside. Not be so fearful and choose someone in your life that you feel that could handle these things for you. The next thing is healthcare proxy. So with the healthcare proxy, you're basically designating who you want to be your healthcare provider. What I find is, having been in the hospital myself, these are documents that they kind of throw at you once you're in a hospital. Oh, sign this, or you need to have this. It's better for you to do these things ahead of time. So the healthcare proxy, you're designating individuals, usually two individuals, again, for the same reason, in case, one is unavailable, or so the second person can step in. And these people can make healthcare decisions for you. So you need to tell them what your preferences are. And you need to choose individuals that can make healthcare decisions. Like, some people just, it's hard, especially as a daughter or a son. You may not be in a position to make that healthcare decision, or may not want to, because you may have to choose whether or not this person is pull their plug, then they're going to die. So you need to, if you have somebody in your family that's maybe better at these things, then choose that person. They may be a nurse, or they just may be able to be stronger and be able to make these decisions. So just again, put some thought in it. Don't wait until you're in the hospital bed and the nurses come and throw these documents at you and tell you, oh, you need to sign this. I really, don't like that. It happened to me. I already had my documents, but, they came to me, oh, you need to have one of these, not knowing that I'm an attorney and I know, what they're talking about. So next we're going to look at some of the documents. So this is just a plain last will and testament. And it just shows you, you basically have to put, where you live. It's very important, where you live because that's where the your estate will be. So if you live in Westchester, it will be Surrogate Court of Westchester. If you live in the Bronx, you should not be making a will in a state where you do not live. It will not be a good thing. You must make a will in the state where you're residing at. Next, we have the document called a power of attorney. And if you look at the, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the second page here. This is just the first page. So basically, this is a document that I was saying, it's governed through New York State, and it will show on there exactly what powers you're giving the person to do for you. Sometimes, for instance, if you're purchasing a house and maybe you have to work that day, or you're out of town, you can give a power of attorney to whomever you wish, including myself, the attorney, to sign the documents for the closing for you. So it comes in, this document comes in real handy, okay? And next one we have is the healthcare proxy. Again, you sign this and you list the individuals that you want to make your healthcare decisions. Again, you should have two persons in case one is unavailable or one is just not capable of making that. And then the last document is your living will. So the living will, basically, you're saying that, in case I'm in a situation, I'm so out of it, not that I'm not really alive. I'm just being kept alive through a machine. And you know what? I don't want that. It's a personal decision. I don't want to live like that, because I'm really not living. I'm really not here. The body is here, but the mind is not here. And so you're letting your loved one know ahead of time, please pull the plug. And it's a little bit more comforting, because that they know what your preference is ahead of time. That I don't want to live like that, so that they don't have you hooked up to this machine. I mean, I've heard of situation where people have been hooked up to machines for years, and they just, kept them on there. As a matter of fact, I had a very close family member that his mom was not able to make that decision, and he was living, I want to say, more than 5 years. He recently passed away. He was living more than 5 years just in the nursing home. Didn't know anyone, couldn't speak, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything for himself, just lying there for over 5 years. And initially we all would go and visit him, but after a while, life goes on, you get busy with your life, and you don't even get a chance to go and see him, and you feel bad about it. But then, you know but it's just one of those situations where mom could not make that decision when the time came. So it's good to have this document that your family members know exactly how you feel. So I hope that this presentation has been helpful to you. And now, if you have any questions, I am all ears.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It has been tremendously helpful to me, as usual. I know your expertise, and I do hope that the people get a sense of not just the fact that you're a legal mind, but you have a heart that wants people to do better. And I know that personally. We do have some questions in the chat, and so I will give you the questions as they came. And this question, I believe, is from Tashawn. And Tashawn, and her first question had to do with insurance. She says, is it wise to have an additional life insurance policy outside of the policy we have with our employer? And I think you kind of touched on that, but give us a little more why you think that is.
Yeah, when it comes to life insurance, I would suggest you get as much as you can, because especially when you're younger and you don't have medical issues, it's easier to get life insurance, because you want to leave as much to your family members as possible. And of course, you want to get something where you can afford and that you can pay monthly. And usually employers, I know that they usually have smaller policies for you. So it may be 50,000, 60,000, but you want to get, for an average person should have at least $200,000 worth of insurance,
Okay.
Because when you get older, you can't get insurance.
Right. And back then, when I was younger, you felt like you were so infallible, like nothing can happen to you. You like, I'm single, I don't need life insurance. What do you say to our single people out there who just live in la vida loca and feel like, nothing is wrong with me? Why? Who am I leaving this to? What am I, is a life
Yeah.
insurance policy worth getting at as a single individual?
Yes, it is still worth it because again, like I said before, you don't want to leave this burden on your family members to have to come up with $25,000, $30,000 to bury you. Or you don't want them to have to go around the church, I really need money, my such and such died. It's embarrassing,
Yeah.
and doing these GoFundMe things to get money. So even though you're young, listen, none of us know when is the day and the time. And as I keep saying, with this pandemic has really taught us, anybody can die, no
and
matter.
and,
So
and really
yeah,
the life insurance policy is not for the now, it's for
it's for the
after,
future.
it's for the
Yeah.
future, it's not
Unless you have like a whole life policy, which,
right.
does have an investment portion to it, which is not a bad thing because you could do it with the investment portion and it grows over time.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Another question coming in from Tashawn. It reads, I have a mortgage insurance on my loan, but was told by the bank that I no longer need the mortgage insurance because I have had the loan for 10 years. Is this wise to remove a mortgage insurance to save some money monthly? Why would the mortgage company even suggest removing the mortgage insurance?
Oh, this is actually a good question. It's a different thing. What is the person's name?
Tashawn.
Tashawn, this is a different thing. A mortgage insurance is different from a life insurance. The mortgage insurance is for the benefit of the bank. They take it out in case you fail to pay the mortgage.
Mm.
They get paid through the mortgage insurance. So once the equity in your home builds to a certain point, they remove the mortgage insurance. So it's a good thing for you. You save that money, that extra $100 or $200 that you're paying the mortgage insurance. So yes, go right ahead and remove that, honey, but make sure you have life insurance. Ask the loan company if they can offer you life insurance to pay off your mortgage in case of your death.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I hope you guys are catching these and writing down these notes. We're going to have Sophia share her information, how she can be reached. Another question to Sean. Thank you so much for joining and having such good questions as well. For the will, is it something that can be done virtually if you do not reside in New York, or will you have to appear in person?
Yes, you really do have to appear in person to do your will. And if you do not live in New York, you should not do a will in New York. You should do a will in the jurisdiction that you live. But if you're temporarily out of the jurisdiction, you can certainly have a consultation, or a Zoom or something with your attorney. But to actually sign and execute the will, it must be done in person. There've been a lot of issues, especially with the pandemic. The courts have been saying that it really needs to be done in person.
Wow. So what if I want you as an attorney? You can practice in New York, only New York State, New York.
Yes, with
Okay.
myself here in New York State. Yeah.
Okay. Right. And I is assuming it's the same as us with license. My license only give me validity in New York and environs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
So it's the same. Tashawn, sorry. But certainly you can get some levels of consultation, as you said, or even have Sophia kind of get her eyes on it. Even though she may not be able to walk you through it, she could certainly give you some ideas or give you some advice where that is concerned. Tanika says, "Are you able to complete a will and testament and power of attorney for a person?" Right. I think we answered that question, but I'm
Same
gonna
issue.
leave it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, who currently resides in Canada, or are you only able to do for New York or
Yeah.
US?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. America.
Just New York. Yeah. So yeah, you do have to consult. The laws are different from state to state, and I'm
Mhm.
sure the laws are different in Canada also. So you need to get a local person there to do that for you.
Okay. All right. Someone said this was quite informative. Who was this? Oh, Tashawn. Thank you so much, Kenya, for joining. Thank you so much, Camille. Camille has a great question. She says, I'm 51 with no kids. That will be the best kind. What would be the best kind of life insurance policy to get?
Okay. Well, Camille, I don't know what your health situation is. If you can get a regular whole life or if you can do a term policy. The term policy, as far as money wise, monthly fees are much more reasonable, but that only provides for debt, you know, when you die. And I think it goes up to 80 years old, something like that. But the whole life policy is more of an investment policy that you would obtain. So at 51, you know, listen, I'm in my 50s, so I don't consider it that old.
No, not at all.
So if you can get the term policy, I mean the whole life policy, depending on your health situation, go right ahead and do it.
Right. So, what would be some of the just a follow up to that question because I am in that same bracket. Well, what would be some of the health issues that may prevent a person from getting a whole life policy?
Mainly like diabetes, cancer, um, high blood pressure. Yeah, because when they come in after you apply for the insurance, they usually send a health person to your home to take blood from you. And depending on what those results are, they'll tell you what the insurance is. And even sometimes they may be able to offer you the policy, but it's, you know, it's quite expensive if you do have, you know, like high blood pressure, stuff like that. You can also get, you know, like even for cancer, they have insurance that you can get for that also that, you know, can help you with, you know, pay your expenses and stuff. So, you know, these are things, you know, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you really need to do it and just keep paying on it, you know, because when you get older, you'll see the reward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Come on with your questions. Listen, this is good. We have it for a few minutes left. So let us drain. Yo, how can we get in touch with you? How can we get it? We in New York. You know, and just remind us again. I know you're talking specific about wills and policies and proxies and stuff like that. But what else do you do for those that just jumping on who?
I handle matrimonial cases, that is divorce. I do child support, custody cases. I handle landlord-tenant matters,
Mhm.
and of course wills. I do a lot of real estate closings. Real estate closings are really my main bread and butter, as they say. Both, you know, sale of homes and purchasing of homes. Again, my office is in Mount Vernon. You can email me at Sophia Trott, which is my name, Sophia Trott Law at gmail.com, or call me at 914-699-2991. Want me to
Sophia
say it
Trot
again? Got it? Sophia
Law
Trott Law at
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Okay. And that's her email address, Sophia Trot Law at gmail.com. And 914
699
699
2991.
2991. For those of you that are in the THO group, of course, these numbers will be posted. She is not personally on Facebook, but I guarantee you that I will get the information to her. So again, we have her email address, Sophia Trot Law at Gmail. Now we want to be, the not the game. I almost say the game. The goal of having these sessions is not only for information that you can get. But even if you cannot use this information, it is helpful for you to pass it on because there's somebody in our community. We want to take care of our community. We want to be able to tap into the resources that are in our community as well. So many times we go outside of our community to get the type of help and assistance that we need when it's right here, in our community. We both go to the same church, and pastor always says things like, it's in the house. So, it is in the house. It is, and this is my goal, one of my goals of bringing people that I know who have the information so that you can be a blessing as they are being a blessing to us. So please write that number down, 914-699-2991. Make sure to share your information with her. Her information, make sure to share. Kenya says she loves your advice as always. Thank you, Kenya, for joining. Thank
Thank you,
you
Kenya.
for joining. And Kenya was just in the hospital recently, and so I'm sure some of these things she may have based on her job in place, and so she was grateful for that. Love your advice as always. Any more questions right now in the chat? This is Self Care Saturdays, and we are so grateful that you joined with us today. We had none other than Attorney Trot in the house. Now she is no longer Trot, but this is her this is her business name, okay? But I'm so grateful again. Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
coming in and lending us your expertise. I would make sure to of course, avail your information to the people. And for those of you who are catching the replay, please share this with someone. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself on every levels of who we are. We are not just beauty, right? It's okay to go and get a pedicure, manicure, and we sanction that. But what is the goal, or what benefit would it be if you have the best nails, and when you pass on, your family members are in dire straits? You are welcome, Camille. Thank you so much to everybody who's joining. I'm going to just wrap up. Sophia, any final words?
Yeah, just again want to remind everyone to make sure that they at least go in and have a consultation with someone and find out what's available to them and what may apply to them. And don't keep putting it off. We keep putting it off, and then something happens and we wish we had. I've gotten a lot of those phone calls. So just take care of and do it ahead of time.
Thank you so much again for coming on. I appreciate you 100. You know that. I don't have to tell you.
Love you, sis.
Love you too. And I'm so glad that you took time out of your busy schedule. And it is Mother's Day. It is Mother's Day. Oh, we have another question, and I don't want to miss any questions. But it is Mother's Day tomorrow, and you are a mom, a beautiful daughter, and two handsome sons. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so I want to wish you a very happy Mother's Day. But before we let you go and enjoy your Mother's Day, we have another question in the room. And this is Diana. Diana says, I own my home. I have a couple of life insurance, and I don't have a will drawn up as yet. Should I go ahead, Diana? Should I go ahead and get done because I'm leaving most of my wealth to my goddaughter, Chloe? Oh,
Oh,
I
yes,
know
the answer.
Chloe personally too. She's a sweet girl. So you better do that will, Diana.
Yes, yes. You really that's something that you need to do right away. Do the
Yeah.
will. The life insurance, obviously, you can, just make sure if that's who you want to be on there, make sure her name is listed on the life insurance. But for the homes and stuff like that, you need to make sure you have a will, to do that. And, please call an attorney again, do a consultation. Don't
Yeah.
put that one off.
So Diana, I'm gonna put back Sophia's number right up there. Grab that
Mhm.
number and make sure that you catch that number and get your consultation in, and let's go. I know Diana is in New York, so you can definitely serve her. I had a question concerning, it always makes me cringe when you talk about with your home, like if you own a home and that husband is on that home, that
Yeah,
mortgage, that home, and you might divorce and forget.
yeah.
So you're telling me I'm divorced, I forgot to take his name off, and something happens and he gets my home?
No, if you are in fact validly divorced,
Okay.
yeah, he doesn't automatically get the home, but he will get a portion of it because his name is still on there.
Wow.
Yeah, he'll get a portion, but he won't get the entire thing. He'll end up owning the home with your family members, whoever your next of kin is.
Oh, wow. And so,
Yeah.
okay, so if I am not divorced, let's just say we separated and, we have no intention, or like how some people drag divorce on, right?
Hmm.
and they never really officially get divorced, but they've been 20 years apart, but never really officially get divorced. And you have a home, so this goes to him. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and not
Wow.
just your home, whatever else you own too. You know, the monies that you've been accumulating at your job for your retirement benefits and stuff. Yeah, being separated doesn't is nothing in New York. You know, there's some states that you know may be a value, but being people I've known people who have been separated for 10, 20 years, and
Hmm.
then one person dies. Yeah, the other person will inherit all your stuff, and if that's not what you intended, then you need to make sure you do something about it.
And it's so unfortunate because sometimes not only are you not divorced, but you might be living with another person in a common
Yes,
relationship.
that gets
That person,
very complicated. And
yes,
well, I could tell you stories. I've actually been to funerals like that where the new girlfriend or whatever, or new partner, wants to do the burial and cannot because they're legally not their spouse.
my
Sometimes it gets to a situation where they won't even allow them in the hospital bed to visit the person, even though this is the person that they were living with. And one of the last things that happened with a client recently in the last few months is that they didn't even allow the girlfriend to come to the funeral.
my God.
They didn't
So
allow her to come to the
ladies,
funeral. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, if it's more than okay, let's get our ducks in a row, as Sophia said. Let's get our business handled. Let's be well all over, not just beauty on the outside, but let us take care of ourselves and let us be wise. The Bible talks about getting wisdom. In all you're getting, get understanding and get that wisdom. We serve a God, for those of us that are believers, we serve a God that wants us to make good, godly choices. And we understand that people are in places and positions in the culture, like lawyers, doctors, mental health practitioners. I'm not going to go to a shoemaker if I wanted my will go, written. So let us utilize kingdom minded individuals who are able to give us godly, sound, and intelligent decisions. And if you know that you are in a situation where, that situation has been dissolved, but not just legally, all right, take care of it. And again, I'm going to put her number up here for the last time, 914-699-299. Call or email Miss Sophia Trot law at gmail.com. Again, Sophia, thank you so much for joining and thank you so much for being with us. You
You're
have the
welcome.
best Mother's Day that you can have.
Thank
I promise
you.
you tomorrow and give you my little hugs and kisses. But God bless you. I know your children are intending to treat, and your husband intending to treat you well on tomorrow. So God bless. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, there we have it. We had another segment of Self Care Saturdays. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that these are making sense, not just making sense, but giving you the opportunity to be better, right? That's the whole point of THO Wellness or the Healing Oasis. I am Allison, of course, your host, but I am more than just your host. I am a mental health practitioner. So I want to make an appeal today, not just about where we are, but I want to make an appeal to you that you take some time in your day, every day, if possible, to take a self check, and make sure that you are well holistically from top to bottom. And if you are not well, I would admonish you to give us a call. If you are not well, if you are one suffering in silence or dealing with some things that you need help dealing with, we all are dealing with something that we need help dealing with. I don't know about you, but I am certainly dealing with things that I need help dealing with. So I can be reached at 347-674-9253 if you need some assistance to deal with some things that you may need help dealing with. I want you to invite others to join this group. I want you to invite others to know what we are doing on this side so that they too can live a full and happy life, that they too can be productive on all levels of their life, right? We don't want to be so spiritually minded that we are no earthly good, and vice versa. We don't want to be so earthly minded that we are no spiritually focused or good. Again, I want to thank all of you, our viewers, those that are hitting and catching this replay, that you tuned in on this rainy Saturday. It's raining cats and dogs here in New York, but I am so excited that you stopped by and you're here. Thank you again. This would not be great if you weren't here. And for all the mothers that are out there, happy Mother's Day from the Healing Oasis. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it myself. Thank you so much for being with us. God bless you. And of course, mothers, make sure that your children are pampering you somehow. And for those mothers, you know who you are, who are with your children, your beautiful kids right now. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. God bless you. I love you guys so much. Happy Mother's Day to all. Happy Mother's Day to all. Happy Mother's Day to all. God bless you, and see you the next time, which is it? I think it's the 21st. But let's be in place and invite someone to be in this space. God bless.